Nefa Aldana. Sorry.
Good morning. Would you please bow your heads for this opening prayer? Dear Lord, we lift up this meeting unto you. We pray that you bless this meeting and keep us. May your face shine upon us and be gracious to us. May you give the leadership of our city wisdom and vision to lead us. For you have strategically and unequivocally chosen them for such a time as this. We pray for unity to get things done. We pray for peace within our city's boundaries. May your peace be in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our schools, our businesses, and our border. We pray that your plans for this city be fulfilled even in the midst of this ongoing pandemic. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Thank you. You can all be seated. I want to thank the elected officials who have come to join us today. Mayor Murphy from Town of Sahuarita, welcome. We have Deborah Morales, a council member from the Town of Sahuarita, welcome. We have Susie Sines, the county treasurer, welcome. We have Mr. George Ziva, our county attorney, welcome. We have Mr. Alfredo Velasquez, our Santa Cruz County School Superintendent. We have Mr. Juan Pablo Guzman, the court clerk. We have Sheriff David Hathaway. Thank you, Sheriff. We also have a few school board members that are joining us today. Dr. Marcelino Barona, thank you for joining us. Mr. Robert Rojas joining us. And Mr. Brandon Little, thank you for joining us. We also have the consul from Nogales, from Mexico, here in Nogales, Arizona, Victor Manuel Segoina. Well, good morning again. My name is John Kissinger. I'm the Deputy City Manager, Acting City Manager at the time. And welcome to the beautiful VFW. A lot of memories in this building. But anyway, thank you for joining us. None of this couldn't have happened without some really good, dedicated staff. So I would like at this point to thank our city facility staff for making all of this nice and pretty for you, bringing stuff up, getting everything up here. Judy Gerardo, my assistant. Diana Cruz, the mayor's executive assistant. And of course, the lady who kind of made sure everything happened, the First Lady, Kathy Garino. Thank you guys. And of course, the ones we need to thank the most that helped us and help us every day do our job is the council members and our directors. Vice Mayor Esther Melendez Lopez, thank you for everything. Councilmember Joe Diaz, thank you, sir. Councilmember Hector Ortiz, thank you. Councilmember Jorge Maldonado, thank you, sir. Councilmember Lisa Montiel, thank you. And the council member who also helps us with the sound. So if anything goes wrong with the sound, we don't know. Councilmember Salvo Diaz. There are about 14 other members of our community here that make life good for us every day. And they work tirelessly to provide service for the city of Nogales. I'd like to introduce them to you, and they're all off to my right here. We'll start off with the magistrate, Vanessa Cartwright. Our City Finance Director, Gene Bolton. Planning and Zoning Director, Sam Paz. She couldn't be with us today because she's actually working. Our Human Resource Director, Carmen Fuentes. Our Police Chief, Roy Willis. Our Fire Chief, Jeff Sargent. Our City Engineer, Juan Guerra. Public Works Director, Alejandro Barcenas. Parks and Recreation Director, Renee Travers. Another lady who couldn't be with us this morning because she's actually out working, Danitza Lopez. Our Housing Director, Robert Thompson. Our City Clerk, Letty Robinson. And our City Attorney, Michael Maskey. Also want to thank Baskets to Go for their help in the Santa Cruz Training Center for the empanadas that are on your table. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the political leader, our leader, the one who coordinates everything and really makes it happen. The Mayor of the City of Nogales. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And I want to thank you all for being here this morning. It's a beautiful day. And I'm very sorry for those of you that had to walk from the bottom of the hill. You know, there's sufficient parking up here. It's just that some of on the backside here, there are no lineage or anything that you could actually say, let's line up this way and we could fit more cars. But we actually had our city bus, the one we use for the elderly, that was supposed to park down there, and had something happened. And it's not that it's not operational. I think we lost track of it. And they were supposed to give you a ride if you parked at the bottom of the hill. But the way down is a lot easier. A lot easier. You know, and the thing about it that I'm very surprised, you know, not surprised that I see you all here and that there's a lot of residents in Nogales that do want to hear the State of the City address, but I'm surprised to see George Silva sitting by himself. Okay, is there something I don't know that you guys know? Is he I know he's the top cop. Oh, those ones, now they're all yours? Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so, okay. You're okay. You know what he told me? He says, Mayor, if you see me get up and go out the back door, it's time for it. That's what he said. And you know what this means? That I gotta go out these doors too, and we gotta cut it short. And those were the same words that Mr. Rabona said. Remember, my time is precious. And I said, yeah, your time is precious, and mine isn't. But, so I will try to get you out of here in time, okay? And I know everybody's got, you know, time on their side, especially when it's in the middle of the week. But you know, with that, good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Today, I will give you a complete report about the projects and day-to-day happenings that all the hard-working city employees have done, department by department, for the years 2019, 2020, and this year. Mind you, we had to actually reduce the State of the City address and information that I will speak about because we didn't have one last year because of COVID. So it's going to be condensed. But for any of you that would love to see the whole thing, We'll have it at City Hall so you can go by there and pick up the whole State of the City address. The way it was presented to me by staff, by all the directors, by Mr. Kissinger, and so we had to condense it because there's so much information and it's 2.5 years of it. Before we move forward, I would like to touch on a subject that we all were affected by since last year, COVID-19. On behalf of the City Council, City staff, myself, we would like to express our deepest condolences to all of those who lost a loved one. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Santa Cruz County government, City of Nogales staff, all medical professionals, the community volunteers, and most importantly, I want to thank Dr. Pereira, who led the efforts to stop the spread of this virus and save lives through the COVID testing centers and vaccination centers. We went from the highest infected county, listen, the highest infected county in the United States, to becoming the highest vaccinated county in the country. That is incredible. That's an accomplishment. Thank you very much. I want to thank them all for the work they did. This pandemic has changed the way we live, but we are united as a community and we continue moving forward. Before I continue with this, I know John thanked the members of the City Council. I also want to thank the members of the City Council. Each one of these members, when they asked for your vote, they asked also to be committed to the City of Nogales. Some of them are committed in different ways. Some of them like to concentrate on certain things, that their interest and their heart is in, So I'll start, first of all, with Mrs. Montiel. Mrs. Montiel is very interested in finances. That's what I've been seeing for this past year. And she's also in education, which is very important, all right? Then Mr. Maldonado. As you know, Mr. Maldonado has been involved in Little League, recreation, and sports. I guess all your life, George? Yes. So that is important. That right there is telling you that we're getting a council that is united to the point that it can actually go in different directions and assist people and the business community, from children to the adults. Then I want to thank Mr. Salomonia. Salomonia, he helps us with all the sound system. He's into that. That is his heart and his bread and butter. But he makes John's lives miserable. Okay? Miserable, and John can attest to that. He likes to go into City Hall and say, why isn't the street paved yet? Why is this hole in the street? Hey, I understand you have a water leak in the street. But you know what? It's because the constituents of the city, they call him. It's not that he's wandering around the streets. Well, then again, he might be. But the constituents call him and say, Mr. Bonilla, could you help us with this? And that's good, because we want to hear from you as elected officials. So, Salo, you're good at that, my friend. Then, I want to thank Mr. Bojorquez. Mr. Bojorquez, he is also very passionate on streets. And one of his passions is actually Old Tucson Highway. That road has been not prepared properly in the past. It has very deep depressions and a lot of water under the road, but we're working hopefully closely with the county so that we can work together so that we can accomplish to take care of that road for the citizens, not only of the city of Nogales, but the residents of Chula Vista and all the commercial vehicles that go through there to our warehouses. And another thing he's very passionate is, since we voted for the dog park, he, for a while he wasn't seeing any movement over there, And every time he had a chance in the council meeting, he would turn around and say, Mayor, what's happening with the dog park? What's happening with the dog park? And I said, hey, well, we're waiting. Well, now we graded the area, we're getting the quotes for the fencing, and that dog park, Mr. Bojorquez, it's going to be a reality. And I also want to say that Mr. Bojorquez recently lost his companion, his dog. And I don't know, maybe we'll name the park after this little dog that's no longer with him. We'll see. We'll work on that. Unless some of you throw out names out there, we have to make a decision as a council. And then we have Mr. Diaz. Well, Mr. Diaz is the reason we're in this building. He helped us get to this building to be able to use the VFW, even though I too am a lifetime member, a Vietnam veteran, and I hold 2 honorable discharges, one from the Navy and one from the Army. And Mr. Diaz is from Desert Storm. And he's very passionate when it comes to the military and life. And he also is very passionate working with Nogales, Sonora administration. And he's been tasked from my office to conduct meetings with the Presidente Municipal in Nogales, Sonora, and some of the council and some of the people interested in economic development. So, Mr. Diaz, thank you very much for that, sir. And last but not least, the Vice Mayor. She actually puts a lot of the events, cultural events together from the city with the Arte y Cultura, Consulado, and the City Hall, and Alfredo Velázquez, and everybody else involved with that. And so she is, that's her passion, the Arte y Cultura events, and she's actually the party girl. You know, if there's going to be a party in Nogales, the Vice Mayor is going to take care of it. But as this is happening, and I'm speaking to you about it, this is a well-rounded council. This is a well-rounded council. In my previous council, in 2020, I knew I had a well-rounded council. Mr. Barona was there, Mr. Hanesiano was there, Mr. Rojas was there, and I loved it. I loved it because the debates and the talks we had in the council meeting, especially Mr. Barona and I, were great. And I miss that, Mr. Barona. But we did a lot. We did a lot during those times. And with that, you're going to listen to some of the work that we've done. And I'm going to tell you one thing, we condensed it a lot. Because the directors and all staff delivered to us a packet that had so much information that was unbelievable. Even some of that information I had forgotten myself. From the police department, from the fire department, from the courts, planning and zoning, all of it, even finance. There's some, so I condensed it so I can make it easier, not only to be able to present you a State of the City address, but also that so that we can get home by about 5:30 this afternoon. So, with that, before I start, I just want to tell you a little story. Mr. Barona will take a minute. Okay, you're looking at me with these eyes like this. No, I want to tell you a little story. Kathy and I, we take care of cats. And Juan Pablo loves our cats. Juan Pablo loves our cats, you know. He hasn't been to our house in about 10 years because of that. Well, we have a cat. His name is Muñeco. All right? Listen to this. This is a true story. For the past year, Muñeco has mastered the human language. Honestly. You're looking at me going, Mayor, what are you talking about? No, he has mastered the human language. I get up usually about 5 in the morning. Well, when he gets up and he wakes up around 5:30 to 6, you can almost hear him say, get up, feed me. right? And it sounds like that. But you know, that's not what it is. He says it in Spanish. So he's also bilingual, okay? Okay, so we'll get started with this, all right? So, as a council, we meet on a regular basis for discussion and decisions making on city issues. In 2019, we had a total of 12 regular meetings and 15 special sessions and 7 study sessions. 2020, even though COVID was upon us, we had 35 meetings. We were by ourselves in the council chamber, but we had 35 meetings. In the finance department, it's one of those departments that every year we worry about. And if you're ever a city council or anybody that has anything to do with the city, you have to worry, because finances is what's going to get you over the top, or you're not going to make it, or you're going to have to worry that you won't balance the budget. But I'm glad to say that sales in 2019-2020, it was $10,281,347. 2020-21, it was $10,563,508. Mind you, these are the sales tax revenue. Even though shutdowns were there over the previous year up to now, we managed to be over $282,000, which is very good for having the border closed. That border's been closed, and now we're going 9-10 months now, and this year alone, besides last year. So our total budget went from $62,575,326 in 2019-2020 to $82,744,639. That is something you can actually applaud to. Okay? So I'm waiting. Okay. Why? Because that right there tells you that we have the funds to be able to service this community. We can feel comfortable with that, to be able to say, you know what, the needs, not only for our facilities, our employees, the community, our streets, everything, we have the funds. So it's very good. And that, I do want to thank the previous council, because it all started then. It all started last year, where we can reach these numbers. If you only knew how hard it was to sit in the budget process for 4 days with Mr. Barona. It was very hard, but I made it just as hard for him as for me. Why? Because that's the way we debated, we had a lot of dialogue, and we managed to have these budgets and this opportunity to be able to have what is needed for the community. Our IT department, you know, I'm not really going to go into that, because right now they're in the back, they're filming this, and I'm afraid they'll turn the camera off. But it's very important for us. They manage our council meetings so that you can see them on YouTube. They help day in, day out operations with every department. If a computer something goes wrong with the computer, something goes wrong with the library, they're the ones that respond immediately to that. So with that, that's what I'm saying, is that they're very good at it, and I hope they continue with that, and I hope that all the departments, whatever they need when it comes to that technology, a lot of that we don't understand, they understand that. And I'm glad we have great personnel in the IT department. Human resources, the same way. It's very hard to conduct business in the human resources department. It's very hard to make sure that all the information that the employees need when it comes to family assistance, when it comes to stress programs. They conducted an employee assessment program that helps our employees for whatever they need. Can't even imagine the things that could happen to an employee. They're there to assist them. And then they're also there to assist you and anybody that applies in the city. So if you're asking for a job, if you need all the information needed for that application, they're there. Our human resources was there. And I'm happy to see Maida's here because she used to be the human resources director when I was the public works director. Thank you, Maida. The Housing Authority, as Mr. Kissinger mentioned, we have a new director. And Mr. Thompson, he's a Johnny on the spot. He's right there helping everybody in housing. He's looking for grants so that we can improve, possibly down the road, build more housing for the elderly, which we need. You know, we're all getting to that age. What did I just say? We are all getting to that age, you know. So, right now, 14 apartments were completely remodeled, actually renovated completely. 31 roofs were installed, and we received 15 emergency vouchers for families in distress, families that if they need for numerous reasons, domestic violence, they're homeless, whatever, a brief homeless, whatever they need that's emergency, we have those vouchers. And currently working with the National Community Health Partners to provide a facility to be used as additional vaccine distribution points. A lot of appliances were bought this year too with them, and the emergency vaccines were issued, and also we are preparing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some space there for vaccines that they don't get to the amount that we use, basically, like for instance, when we go into the phase of going for the third shot, or for younger children that if we need a bigger facility, we'll continue using the gymnasium. But Mr. Thompson has been preparing an area in housing to be used for that, for the medical services. The library. The library, well, without a library, I wouldn't have had a place to go when I was a young child. But I didn't go there to read, that was strange. I went there to meet my friends. I wish I would have gone there to read. Maybe I would have become the mayor of the city of Nogales. But I will tell you, the library is a very important component of any city, any county. As you know, Nogales Library takes care of the library in Tubac, Rio Rico, Patagonia, the library here. And it's a county effort. The county and the city both invest the money to do that. So that is key. But I'll tell you a little story. Last year, 2019, I asked a friend to come visit me in the office before the COVID, and that was Mrs. Darling, and she's no longer with us. And we talked about the library because she was very interested in having a place where the children could go read and maybe actually taking the books to the neighborhoods. So we came up with the idea of using the trolley for that. And she was surprised. She said, Mayor, can we do that? Of course we can. Let me just get permission from Mr. Kissinger. And I talked to Mr. Kissinger. From there, we took it to the members of the city council. And we all agreed. We all agreed to use the trolley. So we're working right now to have the trolley as a mobile library going in the weekends and during the summer and the days off that the children are not in school, and taking that to the residents and finding a location and advising the children so they can also get their library cards, go read in the trolley, and also, take some books home. So, and this is one of the projects that I want to work also directly with the school superintendent, Alfredo Velasquez. Him and I have worked in a lot of projects that he has given me opportunity to be part of his arts program, which Matter of fact, I was asked to be part of a committee that we're going to be working on the projects for October, the month, which is art month. This month is coming up. And he's also has given me the opportunity to teach kids, because I teach art. And under the Arizona, back then, I don't know if it's still there, but it was young audiences at the time. They still have it? Yeah. He gave me an opportunity to teach kids from 5th graders to middle school. And that was one of my most enjoyable times. I haven't done it in a while, but I've been very busy, but Alfredo knows that I'm there whenever he needs me for whatever. And recently he asked me to do some work with him and also with October month in the Arts Committee. So I'm going to be there with him on that. And that falls into the library, the education part, which Mr. Velasquez is very, very passionate about. The library also, when I mentioned that 46 computers were installed, library cards are now available online. Library staff are working on getting the mobile library, like I mentioned, and trying to keep our doors open as much as possible, even though we were still operating during COVID. But COVID really messed everything up for everybody. But we have to get over it. It's not over yet, but we have to get over it. We have to open the state of Arizona and make sure that we work hard. Also, Nogales, Sonora needs to be helped so that we can turn this city, a city of 500,000 people like it was before, not reduced because people cannot come across because none is essential. So we need to do that. Hopefully, I hope our Congress, I hope our states, people, senators, and our administration works on something like that so we can get it done. Let's just cross our fingers. The Municipal Court. It's very hard to talk about the Municipal Court because, knock on wood, never gotten a ticket in my life. But if I ever had gotten a ticket, I would want to see the judge we have there. Okay? Because that court, we have a judge that has been very good with people that have gotten citations, very good in implementing programs for payment, that you don't have to worry about getting a warrant just because you don't have means of paying. She takes care of you. And when she came in, she said she was going to do that, and I'm very happy with that. I've heard people going to the Municipal Court and actually feeling comfortable with the decision that was made. Even though they owe money, they felt comfortable because it was a payment plan. So she basically told them, don't worry about it, we'll help you out. So I'm very happy with that. And with that, I just want to say that the Chase building, the annex building that's next to City Hall, that on the second floor will soon be the court. Okay? That also was brought to my attention, and we made the decision in 2019, going into 2020. That also was something that I know Mr. Lemon was very passionate. I keep mentioning his name, but he was very passionate in these things, and also Mr. Hanesian. So as a council, we have already agreed, and it's in the budget, $2 million in the budget for that building. We don't expect that to be the cost, but by the end of the year, we have the conceptual design already, but we should have the contractors' cost, and so that we can make a decision when they're going to start working on that building. So soon, Judge, soon you will have the court. The bottom floor of that building will also be the finance and revenue department. They will be removed from the top of City Hall, brought to that building. The top The City Hall will hopefully one day be offices for the members of the council. The whole bottom section of the City Hall will be extended for the Nogales Police Department. That also is going to be done. So that's... Everybody's been waiting on that, but the good thing about it, the money we have, we just have to get some of these contractors and the people involved in doing that. We all have to be on the same page. And again, I repeat, COVID has actually stopped us from getting together with the contractors and engineers and everything. But they're also coming around, getting things done for us. The police department, very little to say about the police department. They're great guys. They protect us. And one thing I will tell you, as long as I'm in office, we will always, always fund the police department. The police department recently added 2 new canine dogs. That's 2 new canines and 3 police officers. They have patrol cars, new patrol cars. They have new equipment also for communications. They implemented the 911 technology also. Created online records also. And they have trained over 3,000 public and private entity employees on the civilian active shooter training program. They also work hard with NUSD, with DARE, and the school resource programs. And they've also had the academy, for civilian academy. And I talked to the police chief, and he says that he wants to reopen that he loves to see the people that want to get involved in policing in the community. And they take people of my age there. You don't have to be young, okay? Como decimos nosotros, los viejitos podemos, ¿verdad? ¿A dónde están mis viejitos? Allá están atrás. Todos podemos. When they came to the building, I told them, you know what? Come sit in the front. He says, no, here, that's too far. And I said, come on, come sit in the front. No, that's too far. And I said, are you sure that's why you want to sit over there? No. He says, because when we get tired of you, it's easy for us to get out that door. So, mis viejitos ahí están. Okay, I'll just throw a couple of numbers here. It's $1 million just for information and grants that we've gotten total for what the police have done. And I'll explain a little thing about, just short about the grants. The city runs in 3 different ways. We run with shared revenue funds. We run with loans that we try to acquire. And then we run, especially the police department, with grants, all right? And the grants basically come around with stone guarded. The federal government assists the police department, and we assist them so that we can patrol close to the border for a few hours, and our patrolmen get extra time so that they can also take a little bit more money home, and then also be able to work closely with the federal government. So that is very good. That's that partnership we like to have. And that's the same partnership we have with the sheriff. You know, this community, it's one of the safest communities. You know, people say, border this, border that. No. It's the safest community in the whole state of Arizona. And that is because we have a great sheriff's department, we have a great police department, we have federal government, we have DPS, we have every agency that exists in Nogales and in Santa Cruz County. And I told a person that's in this room, I told him I would talk very little about that, but he was my sergeant when I was in the PD, Sergeant Caresosa. He's right there. He was a tough guy back then. Not no more. But back then it was different. We didn't have stone guarded. We didn't have patrol cars. When you got off duty, you make sure you filled the patrol car with gas at Public Works, cleaned it up a little bit, parked it outside City Hall, and then went home in your own car. Why? Because we only had like 3 or 4 patrol cars, John. And that's how we ran the police department, and we were still successful, and we did our job. Okay? But now, luckily, all of our officers have patrol cars because of these organizations, these grants, and these opportunities that we get. So it's very good. It's very good when you have a department and a police chief and administrators in that department and that can administer that opportunity, those funds, so that we can get those funding year in, year out. And that's a grant. Like I mentioned, that is a grant. Those grants that we get from them, okay? The Nogales Fire Department. Another bunch of guys that are great. That's another uniform I wore back in the 80s, before Mr. Carrizosa inducted me to the PD. That department, I mean, it's unbelievable what they do. You know, I don't know if you've seen the new fire trucks we've gotten. We made some great leaps in that department. Great equipment. And the funding on that is basically in the large numbers. It's just like the PD, because public safety and the importance of keeping our community safe, not only in policing, but also in fire, ambulance service. Those are the people that take care of us. They don't sleep. While we're sleeping, they're out working at all times. So I want to thank you, Chief, for your work in the fire department, and I want to thank everybody. Both of the chiefs are sitting in the corner. Notice how they went all the way to the corner? I thought I was going to point them out, but they're over there. But on the fire department, they purchased AEDs for the ability to perform life-saving deflation from any fire vehicle. Replaced air packs. The air packs are the equipment that they put on their backs when they go into a fire. And these air packs increased the number that they purchased by 10%. And each one of them have thermal imaging. That means when the firefighter goes into the building, they can actually see and a person, just by the heat that's coming out of their body, and they can locate people in a building full of smoke. Increase the number of heart monitors by 5, 1 for each ambulance and 1 for each engine. They implemented also target solutions for training. Active on the 911 that gives crews access to data regarding buildings and hydrants from their cell phones. Fire hydrant inspection process, business safety and safety inspections. There's a lot of work that they do every day, but like I said, I want to condense it. Facilities has spent $116,000 in repairs to some of the buildings. For instance, Fire Station 1 and 2 and the Senior Center. They have roofs done. The Senior Center is a place where, you know, I've been there to eat. The food is great. Sometimes I think they even cook better than my wife. But then, no, wait a minute. I do the cooking at home. I don't want to say they do it better than I do, but no, it's great. It's a great place to be and a great place to visit. And I hope everyone gets an opportunity to visit the Senior Center and then spend some time with our seniors there. Fleet, approximately $1.2 million was spent on the fleet department on 2019-2021. This does not include what was spent on new vehicles and other for the police and fire, mind you. This is for the Vector truck you saw parked outside, for the trucks, for the dump trucks, for the tractors, everything that they use also on the streets. this is where that $1.2 million went to. They bought a paver, they bought a dump truck, a flatbed, a boom truck, pneumatic roller for paving streets, sewer vacuum truck, side loaders, and this equipment is the equipment you see right now that is paving some of our streets. When it comes to paving, we have a very efficient and very professional crew in the streets. Some of the streets are paved in-house. In-house means that we're using our crews with funds that are within our budget. Right now, I'm going to read a list of streets that's going to be done in the near future. It's called the WIFA. It's a loan, a $14 million loan that we received back in 2019. We actually went after that loan. We received it at the beginning of this year. That's going to be a very big project for the next 3 years. Police department bought 11 Ford Explorers. The fire department bought 1 water tender, Type 2, Type 1, Type 2 engines, a brush truck, and a technical rescue truck. Capital improvement projects, and also they bought, with that money, 10 dumpsters for sanitation. Capital improvement projects. These are projects that were done, and some of the projects we're going to continue. And I'm going to read the list. I have to because it's important for you to know. West Hills Tank Bypass. Installation of a new submersible pump at Santa Cruz River. High School tank recoating. North tank recoating. Santa Cruz River electrical upgrades. 8-inch water line replacement. Prior to paving subjects. Sewer line repairs in Nogales Wash. And then another $1.6 million was for Sonoita water line replacement. Calle Cananea, Calle Caborca water line replacement. West Street water line, Santa Cruz River pump repairs, well number 2. 10-inch water line upgrade on Grand Avenue. Perkins Street water line replacement. North water storage tank 90% complete up to now. And arsenic treatment replacement, Meadow Hills wall number 3. Then another $1.1 million was spent on sewer department projects. That was a Peña Blanca water waste treatment improvements, bypass sewer pump, IOI lateral connections, Sonoita Avenue, sewer line, and let me get this. Those were done. And then on streets, 2019, $264,000 was spent from March through December. That was on Bafford, the soccer field parking lot, Sonoita Avenue, west of McDonald, Calle Maya, Calle Rivas, Sonoita Avenue, south of Walnut, Silver Reef and Saddle Drive, West Street, south of Walnut, Calle Trinidad, Calle Thelma, and Placita de Lina. In November, Paseo Mexico, Mesa Verde Drive was done by a contractor at $486,896. Capital equipment purchases, 2 new message boards, $40,000. 2020, $200,000. Newman Street, Calle Challenger, Portrero Drive, Calle Cananea. Then we did, with Seagull money, we did the Perkins area. There was sewer, water, and pavement. That was done all the way from Frederick, Morley, all the way to Sunny Place, Jefferson, Morley, Madison, and the Senior Center. All of that was done under that project. In 2021, 9 projects are completed in-house by city crews. which are involved in this whole project. Mariposa Ranch Road, that's by the school, that will be connecting with a new project that we have with ADOT. Hopefully coming soon, the one with ADOT. Picasa Drive, Pitachi Drive, John Williams, Manor Drive, Herman Rivas, Diaz Lane, and Larimore. And also the intersection of Valverde and Mesa. See, George? We have a lot of work, huh? Told you. See, if Mr. Siva's not going out that door, you know, the minute he gets up, somebody tell me, because I'm not watching, my friend. Road maintenance repairs. These were done, it's called Fox Seal, Chip Seal. It's not paving. Vista del Cielo, Frank Reed, Hohoka, Western Avenue, Coronado Subdivision, Baffert Drive, Target Range Road, Morley Avenue, Calle de Sonora, Walnut Street. Here comes one of the projects that a lot of people ask about, and that's Parks and Recreation. This is a great project we're doing, and I'll first mention some of the work that's done recently and the expenditures. That was in 2019 to now, it's $217,000. And with that, we did Ron Turley Field, the renovation, new light structures, walking track, the soccer field, new sod, new irrigation system, Fletcher Park, Memorial Park, dugouts and electrical upgrades, new fencing and Memorial, Little League and Fletcher Parks, canopy, bleachers, and concession stand in Fletcher Park, Madison and Anza tennis courts, including resurfacing, lining and new posts, and same department were key to the vaccination process, which was the recreation department, and they were, right on top, and making sure that they were open, they had everything, the facilities clean, everything, so that the county, the city, and the professionals, the medical professionals and volunteers, and also Dr. Pereira, so that they could do their job, so that we could all be here. And here comes Hector Bojorquez, the dog park. The dog park is, like I said, has been graded, has been marked. It's going to be a great location, right by the ponds there, entering the Meadow Hills. This dog park will have an area for large dog, fencing, and for small dogs. Hector's dog was a little chihuahuita. Hector. He was afraid that it would go through the holes in the fence. So what we did, we put a little section that was for chihuahuitas. And that's why I don't know how we're going to do it. I think we're going to name the chihuahuita part after Hector's dog, because the other one's going to have big holes go through there. It's going to have a water fountain for the dogs. It's going to have a walking path with integrated workout stations. That walking path, mind you, is going to go from the dog park all the way to the Children's Museum. So when the kids are at the Children's Museum, they can come walking on a trail and exercise, be exercise stations, and vice versa. When they leave the dog park, they can go visit the Children's Museum with their parents and their dog. It's going to have play structures, waste bag receptacles on each entrance, and benches. And the trees, so you know, the trees, some of the bridges, some of the obstacles that dogs like to play with, we're going to do them with the Boy Scouts. I've already talked to them, and we're going to get donated trees so that we can plant them there. So it'll be a community event under the Clean City, Healthy City initiative. So that'll be done, a great project. We're almost there. There's two more. Okay, planning and zoning. I couldn't leave any of the directors without mentioning them. Planning and zoning. This is a key department that you know, a lot of people have issues with, especially contractors, developers, and everything, because of the process. And we've been trying to get, you know, the process to get it speeded up and stuff. We have a great director somewhere that's with us, and he's been working on that. And I just want to say that he implemented a one-stop shop for processing, building, and grading and street cut applications. From 2019 through now, a total of 803 building, grading, and street cutting applications have been processed for a total of $34 million. A total of 36 commercial sign applications have been processed. 161 business license safety inspections have been completed from 2019 to September of this year. And not only that, but large commercial projects past 3 years for a total of $7.4 million. Medium and small commercial projects, $359,000. Residential projects, $4.1 million. And some people say that nobody's building in Nogales. Well, somebody is building in Nogales. But we do need to annex, so there will be a lot more building. And I'll come up to that right now. This is very good. The goals that this department has are unbelievable. These are the future projects and goals. This is what a lot of people have been calling and asking about. This is the $14 million jackpot. WIFA loans, Water Infrastructure Finance Authority. It's $10.6 million for drinking water projects and $4.3 million for clean water projects. This not just includes the infrastructure, includes the paving, everything to it. Just listen to the names of the streets. Some of these streets have not been touched in 40, 50, maybe even 60 years. Okay? We have the funding. These projects are going to start next year. They're not in list, a priority list, just random, but the priority list is going to come up by whatever the public works director indicates and the guys in the water department out, whatever indicate has to be done first because of priorities, because of water ruptures. And I know some of the streets already been, actually, they've been focusing on those. I'll start with the Rancho Grande subdivision. Royal Road, Live Oak, Silver Road. Vista del Cielo, Phase 1, Phase 2. Mariposa Sewer Spot Rehabilitation. Camino del Sol, Marina Street and Alice Street. Where is she at? There you are. You asked me about that. Soroita Avenue, Pajarito Street, Oak Street, Meadow Hills Lift Station, Bankert Avenue, Stevens Street, La Castellana Drive, Mr. Caresosa, Goodman Street, Grand Avenue, Anza Drive, Target Range Road, Camino del Sol, Western Avenue Sewer Spot Rehabilitation, High School Bypass, Yucca Drive, Country Club Drive, Larimore Street, West Street, Elm Street, Sierra Avenue, Curtis Street, Anthony Street, Baldwin Street, Western Avenue, Hodgins Street, Escalada Drive, Poston Street, Bowman Street, Loma Street, and McNabb. All of these are identified under the $14 million WIFA loan. This is great for Nogales. Not only will it improve our streets, will improve our services, but also will be something that anybody that wants to relocate to Nogales can actually identify Nogales is working for their community and their residents. So the future parks and recreation project expenses I mentioned, but I wanted to keep the last one for the best. And that, if you haven't seen it, it's on your table, and it's on the message on the board display over there. That's Teachea Park. That park is going to be beautiful. That park is $2.3 million. The city has already invested up to $230,000 on that. We've already got engineering process going, and we're hoping, this is what Mr. Kissinger said, so if it doesn't happen, don't blame the messenger. We're hoping that they will be breaking ground hopefully by the end of this year on phase 1. That'll be the section closest to City Hall. This is the park that will have an amphitheater that people can go and relax on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon and play acoustic music, not loud music, because remember, it's a residential area. Acoustic music and performances of the arts. They can have an area for dancing, a lot of things that can be done through Alfredo Velazquez's arts program and the Vice Mayor's arts program and the Consul's art program, because they all look to have those opportunities where people can go and relax and enjoy themselves, listening to some mariachi, listening to watching some dancers, some visual art. And so it's going to be very good once we get to that. That's in phase 2. But this is a $2.3 million project. It's been in the works for a while, but it's going to be groundbreaking this year. So let's hope everything goes well. Thank you. Now we come to number 1, economic development. You know, we had a meeting not too long ago, and the planning and zoning director presented to us some information that is key. It's key to economic development. You know, he talked about, you know, especially being right by the border, how important it is for us to use those opportunities to be able to jointly work together with Nogales, Sonora for economic development. We've been doing that, but you know, this past year was impossible to do anything. You know, and everybody, you know, can see, you know, our downtown area, how badly it was affected by COVID, and it still is. But as a city, as members of the council, we have to work to be able to revitalize the downtown area. It's not a one-man thing. It's not a council thing. It's your thing. You know why? Because those stores down there need shoppers. We can't just depend on people that come across Morley Avenue, pedestrian walkway to shop. We need us to go down there and shop and help those businesses stay alive. The ones that remain open. A lot of them close their doors. 3-4 months ago, I walked down there, my assistant and I, and we went over there to leave letters with business people and property owners. And we were surprised to see some of the stores no longer have merchandise in the store. What that told me is that they're gone. They're gone. They're empty buildings. Now somebody else has to move in there. So we have to work on stuff like that. That's where we all have to get together. The property owners have to get together with the city so we can find a way how to solve that problem. You know, Mr. Paz mentioned, you know, small business incentives. We've been talking about incentives for a while, but, you know, it's true. You know, to give these incentives, you know, to support business. In 2020, there was an idea that was brought to us by Mr. Ramon, and that was to assist somebody that's going to build, to reduce you know, it's a development fund. What it is, the connection of sewer and water to whatever you're going to connect. And there's a cost that goes with that. Well, we decided as a council, we voted unanimous on that, to reduce it for 90 days, mind you, at 50%. We got businesses who were highly attracted by that. 50% removed from connection fees is a lot of money. It all depends on what size of business you have. Mr. Paz is telling me that he thinks the seasonal temporary fee discounts that we had in 2020 is something that we should continue having once in a while. The city loses money on that, but we also gain employment. We also gain opportunities for somebody to say, you know what, at that cost, I'm willing to go down to Nogales. I don't think there's any city that will give you 50% of the connection fees for your business and say, you know what, we'll waive that. I've heard of 10% in other communities, but not 50. And I think we should continue doing that. And Mr. Paz, I want to thank you. You continue doing this work because as a council, we're going to really consider this and maybe one day not make it just a temporary thing, a seasonal thing. We should concentrate as an incentive to do something like that for now on. For now on. Capitalizing on the downtown area, like I mentioned, Terrace Avenue cannot be left behind, as well as Morley, of course. But Terrace Avenue was selected by ADOT back in 2002 to be a pedestrian walkway. They gave us a grant of $500,000. I was the public works director at the time. And we invested in the sidewalks, we invested in a lot of things, but we never completed it as a pedestrian walkway. We need to work on that project. Because if we can get people that visit Nogales, Sonora, American tourists, and when they come back to Nogales, Arizona, if we can get them to stop there in a coffee shop, on a kiosk, rest their feet, spend a little time, learn about Nogales, that'll be a plus for us. Because these people will take it back to their communities and say, you know what? The first block of Terrace Avenue in Nogales, Arizona, it's a pleasing place to sit and relax. We need to work on that. But now we have to invest money into it. Because the $500,000 we received at the time in 2002 was good $5,000. Nowadays, $500,000 is drop in the bucket. So we have to work on that. And there's two members of the council that are working on that and hopefully will continue. That's the Vice Mayor, Ms. Lopez, and also Mr. Bonilla. They're very interested in that, and hopefully we can get and also have dialogue with the people that have the businesses in that short block Terrace Avenue, the way the police department calls it, short block terrace. That short block terrace that we can turn into pedestrian can also be a place where we can have special events when they near to the Fiestas Patrias, Fiestas de Mayo, everything that's associated with Nogales, Sonora on the first block, that's what we need to have. Those are very attractive locations. A lot of cities near the borders have them. My wife and I have traveled to San Diego and traveled to El Paso. They have them over there. They have right by the border places where they have events, when they're nearing those events that they have together with their sister city. So we're going to be working on that. And of course, we're going to continue working with Morley Avenue. On the Morley Avenue project, by the way, with the month of October, we're going to have Dia de los Muertos. That's coming around. Vice Mayor is going to be working on that. Ms. Corey is working on that, and everybody that's part of the superintendent, Mr. Rafael Velasquez, is working with that. Dia de los Muertos altares, they're beautiful. They're very, very nice to see, very colorful. If you get an opportunity, go visit them. Yeah, it's impressive what you see there. And you'll be able to tell and see the history of the person that they're putting that altar for. you know. And hopefully, if I can get a crew from the city, Mr. Kissinger, we're going to have a city-made altar for those people that we lost with COVID. So, we should know. So that altar probably couldn't be big, I'm sorry to say, because you know we lost 188 people. And that we'll put the altar together, we'll put everything together. You just have to have the person or the loved one take a picture there, and then we'll put it there and with everything. So I take this opportunity asking you if you know of anybody, because that will be important for us to really remember those people by. All right? Thank you very much on that. And also, Christmas parade, night parade, we're having it this year. So that's going to be interesting. Last year was very sad. Era un día con las luces apagadas. Este año va a ser un día con las luces prendidas. All right? And then, one thing that I know that everybody was excited with, las casitas. The Christmas casitas. They're going up this year again. But the way we're doing it this year is going to be different. We're going to set up the casitas. Then from my office, whoever wants to decorate a casita, they go to my office, my assistant will give you a number, and the casita will be numbered at the placita. And then you're going to go decorate it over there. But this year is different. You can paint it this year. You can put whatever you want to on it. You can bring whatever lights you want to. We'll just have them, and then numbers were on them, and then you select it, you start working on it. And I think it would be nice. Before, what we did is they were taken to the location, and then our public works department and traders were taking the casitas over there, and they were having a hard time because a lot of the ornaments that they attached to the casitas were flying off and everything. So now it's over there, so you can take the kids over there from school, your grade or whatever school, and you can have a day of it. Have a day of it decorated their placita, having that feel for Christmas, that feel for Christmas. And Kathy, what's the theme for Christmas this year? See? You don't remember? Does anybody remember? Yeah. It's a day of, what's it called? Together in Christmas. Together in Christmas. So something like that. So now which means that we're going to be together this Christmas. Okay. Together, that's what it is. Together this Christmas. It's not going to be like last year. That you stayed at home, your brother stayed at home, your sister stayed at home, and nobody came to see you. And it was an easy one because you didn't have to buy any gifts to anybody. And everybody was afraid to get together at home. Even Thanksgiving was bad. No more people. Let's get together, let's be a family, and let's get together and be a community, and let's get together and have fun downtown on Morley Avenue for Christmas. And with that, I'm going to end it. Mr. Barola, stop looking at your watch. I'm almost done, Mr. Barola. No, I'm going to end it with the annexation. I know you've heard about annexation. The city of Nogales hasn't had any annexation, I can't even remember, 40 years, Mr. Orona, or more? All right, and it was just a little section, Distancia or something like that. Nogales, Arizona is 20 square miles, and it's been like that for many, many years. Nogales, Arizona does not have any area for a subdivision, housing, no space. Luckily, if it wasn't for Mr. Noe Garcia, that he has all that land, hopefully he can get an opportunity to get businesses to go there, to be able to develop that land in the future for future employment. That's all we have. We need to extend Nogales. We need to extend it from the west side, close to the Coronado National Forest, to Pilot, from Pilot all the way to the east side in Kino Springs, to the border, and north to the airport. If we're successful in that annexation process, we will be a city with a footprint of 63 square miles. That is very important, because when somebody wants to bring their business to Nogales, or even thinks about bringing their business to Nogales, believe me, they will ask, when was the last annexation of Nogales had? Oh, can't even remember. Is there anywhere to build? No. Is there anywhere to put a developer to come and build homes? No. There isn't. This is the only way we're going to do it. Tucson has extended themselves all the way to Vail. Marana, I can't even say how much they've taken. Sahuarita, Mayor, you've taken some chunks of land. Very successful too. And it's important to do that. That's the way cities grow. That's the way cities show that their footprint is going to be able to take you to the future and opportunities for the residents of Nogales. Even though people say, well, you know, it's going to cost a lot. The city can't afford it. Do they have enough police officers? Do we have enough fire? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Our police chief says that a few firemen, a few police officers, they'll do it with that. Our fire chief says the same thing. It's minimal. It's minimal, the amount of officers you need. We already, in some of these places, we already have the sewer system. It's the city sewer system. And in some of the places, the water is ours. All we have to do is take sanitation, police protection, and they would be inside the city. And I'll indicate exactly what you get for that. And with annexation, the benefits include vehicle license tax, state share tax, streets and highway allocations, highway user revenue funds, state income tax. And by the way, for those people that say that if we annex, they're going to raise your taxes, and the Nogales will raise your taxes, people, I'm sorry, we don't have a property tax. Nobody's going to raise your taxes. What's going to happen is they're going to be reduced, because once our police and fire go and protect you in those areas, you will no longer belong to that fire district. So your taxes will actually drop. Okay? And this is what you get with annexation: fire protection, police protection, emergency medical services, sanitation services, street maintenance, wastewater services, zoning and building protection, participation in elections and decision making, and many additional benefits that we can include down the road with the incentive programs that Mr. Paz had mentioned. We just include all those. You know, a pre-annexation agreement has to be prepared by the city so that we can talk to the property owners, especially the ones that have intentions of developing, especially in the Kino Springs area. If we can present something like I mentioned prior about the development fees and about the connection fees, that's called a pre-annexation agreement. What can we offer to them for them to develop homes that can attract people from out of state or north of here to come to Nogales, to come to the city of Nogales if that's annexed? They say, annexation, well, you gotta bring in retail. No, what you need to do is bring people into your community. Where are they gonna shop? Nogales. There's no Safeway in Kino Springs. There's no stores in Kino Springs. They will build their homes in Kino Springs, come and shop in Nogales, the closest community. That will increase our sales and our revenue tax. That will bring more people and more diverse community. That's what you will get. from this footprint. And if we're successful, it'll be something for the history books. Because annexing 20 square miles, 40 square miles of other 20, I've been told is a big chunk, but it's okay. If you have any relatives, if you have anybody that lives on those areas outside the city limits, talk to them. Because once we get this passed by the city council this coming month, where we will ask the assessor's office to put that on the map and for them to give us the names of all the residents that live out there so that we can go and talk to them and try to get their signature. Because this is not a voting process, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a person that owns the property signing and saying, I'm willing to be part of the city. And it takes 50% plus one of the population in those areas and 50% plus one of the value of those properties. That's all it takes. And then they become, within a year, they become, and they're incorporated in the city of Nogales. That'll be very nice if we can do that. And this administration, these members of the council, we're willing to go that route. And I'm hoping that when we make that decision, it's a unanimous vote from this council that we go in that direction. Because we need to do it as teamwork, and we need to ask every one of you and everyone that lives in those areas to sign on. We have 1 year after that vote, exactly 1 year to get the signatures. And after that, they become part of the city. Thank you. And with that, my closing remarks. So I don't know. I can't see your face. You're the only one in the room with a mask. There you go. There you go. No. So everybody's putting it on now. See, I shouldn't have said that. Everybody put it on. I know. And it's good to have a mask. It's good to be vaccinated. It's good to have a mask on. But I just want to say, the state of the city of Nogales is well, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, I condensed this because it was impossible for me to actually give you all the information that I received in my office from all those fine directors that sit on that table over there. The hard work, everything they did for me in 2 weeks is unbelievable. When I was receiving it in my office, matter of fact, last night, I had it at home and I told my wife, I can't read all this. So I went to bed. And I said, just leave it like that. Kathy, I haven't lived this. She didn't go to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning because she saw places that, well, you can remove this paragraph, you can move this one back here. Even though I was in bed, she had the light on, and I couldn't go to sleep. But I managed it because I knew that I couldn't say everything that was written and taken to my office by the directors, by Mr. Kissinger, by Mr. Thompson. But I think I was successful in giving you all the information possible from each department and how important it was these past 2.5 years. They were tough 2.5 years. A mayor, when he likes to speak and give a State of the City address, it's a 1 year process, not 2.5 years. Especially not one very bad year with COVID. So you want to be able to give out the information, but also you don't want to show that just because we had COVID, it was a negative year. No, we worked. We provided the services to everybody. We might have not been as successful because of the closure of the border, getting more funds for the city of Nogales, but with what we had, we were successful. And a lot of work was done. You notice some of the streets were paved. It was very hard. But no contractor wanted to come to Nogales. They didn't want to bring pipes to us for the sewer. They didn't want to bring pipes to us for the water. You know, luckily we got some asphalt to be able to pave some streets. But we managed. as a city. And I'm very happy for this council, very hardworking council, and I'm proud to be with them, and I'm proud to say that they're my colleagues. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for being part of the State of the City address. And you guys have a wonderful day, and God bless Nogales.